It hails from Tatooine.
Oh, okay.
I have two. One is for you. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's good.
Super good, right?
We should make it.
In order to make the Star Wars iconic blue milk, you are going to need 1 cup of unsweetened light coconut milk, 1/2 of bananas peeled and sliced, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of blue food coloring, and 1 cup of ice cubes. Now may the Force be with you.
Both strap yourselves in. I'm going to make the jump to light speed.
Hi, I'm Jason,
And I'm Carly.
and welcome to May the Fork Be With You, where we cook up some dishes
And drinks.
from your favorite movies.
Today, we'll be making the blue milk originally seen in the 1977 film Star Wars: A New Hope.
This is a very easy recipe that you can do at home, so put in hyperspeed and let's get going.
Let's go.
Take it away.
Luke Skywalker joins forces with a Jedi Knight, a cocky pilot, a Wookiee, and 2 droids to save the galaxies from the Empire's world-destroying battle station, while also attempting to rescue Princess Leia from the mysterious Darth Vader.
Wow.
Today's movie that we will be talking about is Star Wars: A New Hope,
Episode 4.
Episode 4.
But it's the first one.
Originally, this movie was released on May 25th, 1977, and was written and directed by George Lucas.
George.
And with a budget of only $11 million, well, I say only, but like back in 1977.
That's a lot.
That's of money.
That's a good chunk of change.
The movie went on to make over $775 million worldwide.
Wow.
So it's very interesting to talk about George Lucas and Star Wars without discussing and or bringing up Steven Spielberg.
You gotta.
Both buddies, they grew up in the that era with like Scorsese, Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, and John Milius. The movie stars Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Alec Guinness.
And obviously, James Earl Jones.
For the voice.
For the voice.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Very notable.
Which I recently discovered that James Earl Jones' father is the chef in the horror movie Sleepaway Camp. So we'll be discussing a bit about, well, not a bit. I don't want to, because I don't want to bring it up too much. But the specialized versions, the special editions,
remastered.
the remastered.
Yeah.
But have you seen it in theater as the original or the remastered?
Both.
Oh, really?
Because I saw it when they put them all in theaters when they were releasing the remastered version. And it was actually my first solo movie hopping experience as a child, because my dad basically taught me how to movie hop when I was little.
Love that.
And so I remember like going in the newspaper, finding like the times, figuring out which theater.
What's the newspaper?
Finding a little break. I was like, had my mom drop me off. A lot of faith in a child because I was pretty young at the time. But yeah, I saw all 3 of them back to back.
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't seen the remastered ones a lot because I have a really cool DVD box set that I got at Best Buy that actually has remastered, but it also has the original. And so when I choose to watch Star Wars, I usually grab the original discs.
The only time that I've seen this in theater, and the only one, I think,
Yeah.
was the remastered.
Yeah.
Whatever year that was that came out. And I didn't have feelings back then about it because I was just a kid and I was just kind of like, movies.
Honestly, I don't remember other than that Jabba the Hutt.
That's the only part that I
Scene?
do remember.
Yeah.
Is that additional scene. I would honestly have to go watch like the original and then watch the special to really know what the difference is. The only thing that I really actually do remember about the special edition for the first one is the use of like putting different creatures in the background. And so it's like, did we
speeders and things like that?
Did I need this? Like,
yeah.
it's like,
I will say though, I really appreciate at that time George Lucas being like, we don't have the technology for me to make episodes 1, 2, and 3. So we're starting in the middle, but we're still going to film these sequences that we don't have the technology to make now, but I'm totally going to, put them in later if, God willing, essentially.
So this is a super simple recipe where you only need some bananas, you need some organic coconut milk. It doesn't have to be organic, but some blue dye, cup of ice, cinnamon, maple syrup, and a blender. I guess you technically don't have to have a blender, but you can, I don't know, have a hammer and just go at it.
Mash those bananas.
Be like Ryan Gosling and drive and have fun with a hammer.
Eee.
Do you understand?
Let's get started.
You wanna have the honors?
Yeah.
Does that need to be shaken up?
I kind of shook it before.
You're gonna need 1 cup of unsweetened light coconut milk. But first, let's put in 1 cup of ice cubes so we can actually use this for a milk prep.
Star Wars was accepted by 20th Century Fox in June of 1973. And the movie didn't come out until about 4 years later.
Yeah, well, they had a lot of snags. Which I didn't realize. Snags.
Snag, what do you mean?
Well, they had to like reshoot a bunch of things. They were like delayed, weren't they?
But I'm talking about like it was 4 years of like development process before actually going into production.
Oh,
yeah, like that's hey, we bought this, and then they're just like.
When did they start filming?
Principal photography though began in, I'm probably not pronouncing this right, Shot El Jurid.
That's not it, but
how do you say it?
I have no idea.
Okay, why do you think that that's not it then?
Because I'm
rude.
I'm rude.
But production didn't begin until March 22nd, 1976.
That was Principal
photography. So there was a hot minute there.
Yeah.
Because it was also that in 1975, which to this day is still one of the biggest visual effects companies, and that is Industrial Light and Magic.
Yes.
The thing about visual effects is when I did Star Wars, I had an idea of doing this crazy 1930s serial action adventure film, and the idea was it would be very, very fast-paced and very exciting. The problem was there really were no special effects facilities at that time. None of the studios had special effects departments anymore. They'd all been abandoned. I was sort of forced to start my own company in order to make the movie, and that's really how ILM got started in the first place. I needed to invent some new technology, which is what we did at ILM. We were able to create motion control cameras that locked the foregrounds and the backgrounds together so I could have much more freedom of movement. In that case, I was able to then have shorter shots and have a much more kinetic visual style to the film.
So we just went to Disney for Star Wars night.
It was such a blast. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time. I saw some Ewoks.
Yeah, you got super excited. Wicket was there.
You
could do it over here.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what this is here for. 1 cup. Going down the hatchet, Mary Poppins.
Beautiful. Next, we are going to need 1.5 bananas. You're doing great. And then, a tablespoon of maple syrup.
No!
Oh, no.
You know what that means, right?
What? Do you have another one?
I do.
Studio president Alan Ladd Jr. did not understand the whole technical side of the project, but he believed in Lucas's talent and pretty much was betting on Lucas instead of the movie.
Imagine pitching something like this with like terms like Wookiee.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd be like, what in the
okay, buddy. You know, like, sure. But just, I feel like a lot of faith has to go into, giving someone millions of dollars. I'm sure there was a moment where they were all like, this is going to bomb.
We're going to get there.
Yeah.
When I finished American Graffiti, Universal was not going to release it. I was dead broke, so I had to get a job just to live. And so I had this deal to do this space film. So I went to United Artists with this idea of the space film, and they turned it down. And then I went to Universal for the idea of the space film, and they turned it down. And finally, in the process of us screening the film for anybody and everybody who would look at it in order to try to get it released, American Graffiti, Alan Ladd Jr. saw it, who was the head of 20th Century Fox. And he said, I love this movie. You're very talented, and what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'm trying to get this space thing off the ground. And he said, okay, well, I'll fund the screenplay.
When the movie went into production, Lucas he couldn't and didn't win anything.
Yeah.
Mainly with the crew members. Nobody wanted to work overtime. Everybody thought the movie was a joke. And this was all filmed overseas. Mm-hmm. This wasn't filmed in the States. So there were artsy movies going on. There wasn't this movies with Wookiees.
Yeah.
going on, so.
They're like, is this a joke?
Yeah.
So much time working with blue screen. Oh, look.
There it goes. There was no way to have a real good sense of what was going on here.
Like, we have a walking carpet in, like, that's one of our main characters.
Yeah.
Chewbacca. We love him. Yeah. But, like, I can only imagine being, like, working on this movie at that time.
There's so much that we can talk about on this, but as we like to do with May the Fork Be With You, try to touch on the things that people aren't really talking that much about.
Sure.
I mean, this is just a given because there's no way that we can escape not talking about this. And that is one of the most iconic music scores
Oh my gosh.
known on this planet.
I could literally talk about this score
Yeah.
for 30 minutes.
Okay, all right, timer starts now.
No, don't time me. Nobody wants to listen to that.
I would say maybe besides Jaws, this is like this is just the...
It's iconic.
This is the most iconic.
It's the one.
Yeah. And Steven Spielberg was so scared that John Williams wasn't going to have enough juice in him to score Close Encounters of the Third Kind because he was just getting off of Star Wars.
When John Williams did Star Wars, I thought that was the greatest score I'd ever heard. And I couldn't understand how any creative entity or any creative genius could do a score like he did for George Lucas and still have something in his reserve tanks left over for me in Close Encounters. And it really worried me.
I remember, like, when they were just looking at the dailies and looking at the cut of the movie, they were like, this movie sucks. They're like, this movie's a joke. But then when they put it
was the
to
music.
John Williams' score,
Just changed
it
it
just
all.
changed it and it brought it to life.
Yeah.
And it really was like this amazing, what we have now. And I 100% think that the music makes the movie. Like, the movie is fantastic, but like what you connect when you hear that music and the opening crawl, like, it's just, it gives you chills and you're like, I'm ready. Like, let's get into this.
Yeah.
And it really sets the tone for the rest of the movie. Beautiful. A 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon.
When I did the test of this, I thought I think you could tinker with a little bit of stuff. I love cinnamon.
So should we do more?
If you want, if you like cinnamon, do you like?
How much
cinnamon?
did you? I do. How much did you do?
I did what the recipe said, and then I felt like, it's gonna use a little.
Let's
bit
do
more
what
of this.
the recipe says, and then
Oh,
we'll
okay.
sprinkle. We'll sprinkle a little more.
Okay.
So, John Williams gained an Oscar at the 50th Academy Awards for the Star Wars score, which he beat himself out because he was also nominated for Close Encounters of the Third Kind as well.
The
And
goat.
He beat himself.
The man.
The winner is John Williams for Star Wars.
In 2005, the American Film Institute chose the Star Wars soundtrack as the best film score of all time.
I support it.
Do you?
Yes.
Over
How to Train Your Dragon?
I mean, look, I think I have, out of anybody's scores, maybe besides John Carpenter's, I have John Williams scores the most on vinyl that I own. I mean, I love the Star Wars score. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's my personal favorite of John Williams, though. Is it yours? Is it yours, or do you think Star Wars is his best piece of work?
I think that's hard for me to say because I think he has done so many amazing, iconic scores that bring a tear to my eye, personally. Jurassic Park,
That's the thing.
Harry Potter.
There's too many. I
know
don't
what
even
I
like
mean?
Harry Potter movies that much, but that score, I listened to that score yesterday and I was just like,
I will cry when the Jurassic Park theme comes on. But like as a whole cohesive thing, there's just something so special about the movie in conjunction with the score that like that marriage just is so perfect. You know what I mean? Like they really did come together to like make this amazing thing. So that's why I'm saying like I get why that movie would be awarded.
but that's still the same thing with like Jaws. Like nobody was scared of Jaws. Everyone thought it was kind of like, oh, the shark's a joke and all this stuff. And then it wasn't until his score came in and then it just changed everything.
Yeah,
again.
well, music makes movies in a lot of
Totally.
ways.
And for myself, ladies and gentlemen, my warmest thanks for this very treasured award and marvelous moment. Thank you.
So it
So it
says.
says a 1/4 teaspoon of blue food coloring, but like we suggest just going with your heart. Measure with your heart.
Yeah. I mean, well, watch. I'll just do that. When I tested it, then, oh boy. I want to do that.
Yikes.
Steven Spielberg thought he was going to be making a bomb of a movie with his movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Him and George Lucas were filming, at the same time. Mm-hmm. He had massive success with Jaws and was afraid to make to make the second movie. I mean, yeah, you're making follow anything up with Jaws. It's like, oh boy. Meanwhile, so George Lucas thought he was making his own pile of a movie, mm-hmm. and so the two proposed a wager. They'd each give up 2.5% of their films in trade. His gamble would amount to more than $40 million.
Wow. Wow.
What just boss. Just like both these guys.
But you don't know.
No, of course not.
At that time?
At that time, of course not. But Steven used that money to fund many of his future film projects, including one that would unite Lucas and Spielberg with Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I didn't know that half of those directors were kind of all in the same club before.
Yeah. Which brings it to the next thing I wanted to talk about. Do you know who helped invent the famous opening crawl?
Yes, but only because we've talked about it before. So please tell me about it.
If you don't know who helped invent the incredible opening crawl, the famous,
so famous
crawl, we'll find out after this ingredient.
So it was literally that simple. That's literally all you needed. And
which I'm surprised because we just had blue milk and it was fruity. So I guess we're really relying heavily on the banana here.
We're going based on what this recipe is on a certain website. So it is what it is. But clearly, as you see how simple this is, you can
experiment.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, do you want to throw an apple on there?
Not today.
Okay.
There's a director, one of my favorites. He made one of my favorite movies. And that movie is called Blowout. Fantastical movie. If you've never seen it, go check it out.
It began with a sound that no one was ever supposed to hear.
But Brian De Palma was one who vocally spoke out loud of how much he was just so frustrated with the movie.
Sure.
He was like, what is this?
Yeah.
What's going on?
What am I watching?
What am I watching?
I don't get it. We're jumping in. Why?
Exactly.
This is in the middle of where I feel like there was a movie before. What's happening?
Yeah.
I need to get brought up to speed.
So it was Brian De Palma who kind of suggested the whole crawl thing.
Brilliant.
Well, Brian went off the deep end.
Well, makes no sense. Nonsense. What's it all about?
Brian's contention did lead to George inventing the now very famous forward, like the old cereals that crawled up the screen.
Are we ready?
I'm sorry, but Luke is I love Star Wars. I love the Luke Skywalker character. However, Luke is a bit of a whiny bitch in this movie.
1,000,000%.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Because he's whiny as shit.
Uncle Owen.
This R2 unit has a bad motivator.
What
Look.
were you going to say about?
I know. I was just going to say I thought about that a lot when the prequels came out and people were like, Hayden Christensen's so whiny, and I'm like, did you not watch episode 4? Because Luke Skywalker is as whiny as they come.
At the 50th Academy Awards, this movie was nominated for a lot of stuff.
It was, but what did it win?
So it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Original Screenplay, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Original Score, Best Sound, Best Visual Effects, a Special Achievement Academy Award, and Scientific and Engineering Award. But what it did win at the Academy Awards was Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing, Best Original Score, Best Sound, Best Visual Effects, the Special Achievement Academy Award, and the Scientific and Engineering Award, taking home 8 wins.
Amazing.
Night. John Williams, though, at the end of the day, was the winner.
1,000%.
He could be like, that's cool, you're nominated. I was nominated twice.
Yeah.
You ready to try this blue milk?
I'm really excited to try this blue milk.
Okay.
Let's get to it.
All right, so that was that. So it's actually pretty blue.
It is pretty blue.
Yeah. Pretty. It's a pretty blue.
It's, that blue milk, though.
Yeah.
Blue banana milk.
All right, cheers. All right.
It's good. It's not the same.
No, the other one's way fruitier. Now
Yeah.
that I have like a memory of like what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Now just recently having it.
Yeah. I definitely think
There's like pineapples in the other one.
100%.
Definitely pineapples in it.
So the green milk, I actually, I took a screenshot of the menu, but the blue milk specifically says that it's like a fruity rice milk, I think, or something like that. Rice coconut milk.
Mm-hmm.
And then the green one is like citrusy.
Which I feel like the rice milk, I mean, does the milk make much difference? I mean, this is coconut milk, and I can definitely taste a bit of coconutty.
I like that. So the blue milk is a plant-based blend of coconut and rice milk with alluring fruity characteristics, while the green milk is a plant-based blend of coconut and rice milk and with zippy citrus and tropical characteristics.
Interesting.
I don't think they use banana.
Why would the recipe call for bananas then? Or is this the healthier version?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
It's still good.
Yeah, what do you think?
I like it.
Like, I would have this for like a snack.
Oh, yeah.
A little healthy snack. I feel
Yeah.
like there's milk on my mouth.
No, you're good. Milk in the stash.
Milk in the stash. I'd be curious to try it with pineapple, obviously, and tropical fruits, whatever that may be.
Do you have a favorite moment from this movie?
I love the scene where Han and Luke are going to break Leia out from her space prison, and Han Solo goes to the thing, and he's like,
Everything's under control. Situation normal.
like,
Then he just breaks her.
that, and then into like the rescue of Leia and the whole like,
Yeah.
you're a little short for a stormtrooper, like how
It's a
cool
very-
she is. And
That's like the adventure in the movie. For
when
sure.
that, like, yeah, that whole thing once until they get into
That
the trash
sequence, yeah.
compactor. I love it.
And then how do you feel about this movie? What you know, just overall, when you think of Star Wars?
I love.
Not that, I don't want to say because obviously nowadays we know what Star Wars is.
Yeah, but it's different. I don't know. I grew up with this movie. My dad showed me this movie. It got me into science fiction. It got me into just like this whole world that I think up until then had probably just been like Disney princesses. You know what I mean? So this movie holds very fond memories for me. And I love this movie. I love 4, 5, and 6 in particular, like as a series. So yeah, this movie has all the feels attached to it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, we already talked about the possibility of doing like a sequel episode to this at some point, for at least Empire Strikes Back, which I would have to say is probably my favorite out of all the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
It's up to that we know of today. But
mine changes.
Does it?
Yeah. Sometimes I love Jedi. Sometimes I love New Hope. Sometimes I love Empire Strikes Back. I mean, I love them all the time, but
yeah,
I gravitate towards different ones
Totally.
at different times.
Okay.
Definitely recommend giving this a go. It's a nice little snack.
Maybe even like a breakfast type of thing?
Yeah.
Like having this instead of like a meal of breakfast, just have this
Like
to
with
go.
some protein powder or something.
Oh, ooh. But yeah, so that's that for the first episode of May the Fork Be With You. And
join us next time.
Next week we're gonna do some food. We're gonna do a little food thing, a little fun thing. Might be something scary, might not be something scary. You're just gonna have to find out.